This is Ronan, the Prince of Denver, the Gothic superstar, professional wrestling's only true vampire, and you're listening to the AEW Week in Review.
For the week ending March 13th, 2021. It's a go for another edition of the AEW Week in Review, hosted by yours truly, Mr. Fourth Row. The AEW Week in Review is powered by the Pro Wrestling News Hub website covering pro wrestling and not sports entertainment. On to this week's show, we're going to recap Dynamite, Dark, talk about the latest TV ratings, fantasy wrestling, and so much more, along with your emails, news, and so on. Now, if you want to get in touch with the show, just simply email us at podcast@prowrestlingnewshub.com with your MP3s, or if you'd like to give us a call us at 888-430-7692, extension number 3. Cutoff time is 6 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays. Hey, remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and if you do, we will read it on the show. The question from this past week was getting your reactions from the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. And for next week, I'm going to put out the question of the week of, since Dynamite is happening on St. Patrick's Day this year, what do you guys think about them taking advantage of it? And does it give you guys a added sense of this episode of Dynamite may be something special and is something definitely to tune in on? And additionally, I'm going to add the extra little touch. Now that we've got Dark and Dark Elevation, if those shows happen to land on a holiday or special event or something like that, should AEW continue to maybe even do something with those? For example, Elevation is going to be out on Mondays. Now, there's a lot of times there's holidays on Mondays, say a President's Day and Labor Day, Memorial Day, things of that nature. So should they add that to the Dark and the Dark Elevation as well? Let me know. Send us your emails, tag us on the social medias and the such, and we will get to those next week. And now your AEW Dark results for March 9th, 2021. This week's episode started off with Excalibur telling you guys not to pay attention to the fact that they're wearing the same clothes from Saturday evening's episode of Dark, and Taz says something to the effect of, dry cleaning is expensive, yo. But anyways, they go ahead and get the night started, send it down to Justin Roberts for the start of the show, and we have that Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Angel Fashion. Then we've got SCU defeated Azrael and Danny Limelight in a tag team match. We get the pretty picture of Cesar Bonami and Pretty Peter Avalon with the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth defeating Aaron Solo, Brick Aldridge, and Dean Alexander in a 6-man tag match. Lee Johnson defeated Baron Black in a singles match. The Dark Order, consisting of Alex Reynolds, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, and Stu Grayson, they defeated Aaron Fry, D3, John Cruz, and Very Morales in a 8-team tag match. Varsity Blondes of Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison defeated Cameron Stewart and Ryzen in a tag match. Diamante defeated Savannah Thorne in a women's match. QT Marshall defeated Fuego El Del Sol in a singles match. Kip Sabian defeated Charlie Bravo. Abaddon defeated Catalina Perez. Santina and Ortiz defeated Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in the closing match of AEW Dark. And then they throw it to promote for tomorrow night's Dynamite on TNT. And now let's talk Dynamite for March 10th, 2021. We start off the night, the first match of the night, and that is Rey Fenix versus Matt Jackson. We get a lot of great moments, I think, in this match. A fantastic match, a way to start off the night, in my opinion. We do eventually get a winner of Rey Fenix. So my thoughts are really good on that. A way to really build up that tag match that will be coming up in the future. We have a segment of Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. They talk a lot about the ending of the Sunday's pay-per-view of Revolution and how that kind of all went. Thought that was a good way. I think they're really doing a good damage control on this. What do you guys all think on that? And this may actually get to a point, in my opinion, if I could sidebar for just a moment, that maybe this was planned, maybe it wasn't. Is it something that they needed to cover? Are they just doing damage control? Who really knows? But we will see what happens there. So we have a singles match of Cody Rhodes and Seth Gargis, and the winner is Cody Rhodes. Shortly after that, Penta is out there going to confront Cody, so we've got some build up here for them. And in my opinion, this is something I like about AEW Dynamite. When they need to do shifts in these little wars, these little battles, they kind of do them really well. Especially, if you're looking at this, they do a good job because a lot of these are hard pivots and hard 90-degree turns. But the way that they do it, the way that they make just go flawless, it is hardly noticeable. And that's just, my opinion. Shortly after that, we get a segment of Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy in the arcade there. Get some nice Pac-Man music. I don't know if you guys heard it in there, but loved Orange Cassidy. He's sitting at the supercar for the Fast and Furious video game. That was good. So they are going to challenge Kip Sabian and Miro about only time will tell. We get the Sting promo segment. That was really good. Lance Archer and Jake the Snake come out to talk with them. Ethan Page, all ego Ethan Page versus Lee Johnson is next on the card, and we get Ethan Page winning that match. Segment of Kenny Omega, Eddie Kingston, and Christian Cage. Thought that was really good. Is it way that Christian Cage is looking at the title? Is that something that's going to be coming up? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe we might have something to talk about that later on in the show. The Good Brothers, of course, join him out as well. And of course, we do find out later in the show that next week's episode, the Good Brothers will be on in action. Then we got the previewed of the 6-woman tag match of the women's champion Shida, Mitsunami, Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, Miko Itoe, and Nyla Rose. Was really good. I love the start of this match with Miko Itoe continuing to sing and doing the microphone bops on Shida. I don't know what you guys thought about that. It was just kind of fun. But we do get some winners of Thunder Rosa, Mitsunami, and Shida. After that, get a segment with Matt Hardy with Private Party, and they announced that they are going to have some people joining the Hardy Empire. I like the name. I like this. I think it's good. I think Matt Hardy can run a stable really well. So I'm loving this. They get joined by the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. So B3 is joining the Hardy Empire. Time will tell to see how this goes. So I will be keeping my view on that. I hope you guys all do as well. So the TNT Championship match is the next thing on the card for Dynamite, we got Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky. Of course, Scorpio Sky won that shot at Revolution. Great match. I thought it went really well. And is Scorpio Sky turning heel, or is he got something going on? What's going on with him? But anyways, we winner and retaining Darby Allin. After that, we got the Inner Circle War Council happening, and wow, it's was very good. I love it. I love the end of that match. And spoiler alert, if you guys have not watched Dynamite yet, looked like MJF was going to flip the table on Jericho. But Jericho, as the mastermind he always is, the El Champion, had everything already in place, telling MJF that you don't think that we already all talked. But then we find out that MJF had a double backup plan and now is going to team up, start his own faction with FTR, Shawn Spears, and Wardlow. So this is going to be great. I love, like I said, they just do things right. I think it's fantastic the way the AEW does all their stories and makes it a must-watch TV when it comes to professional wrestling. TV ratings are in for last week. AEW Dynamite drew 734,000 viewers, which was down from last week's 934. They finished 4th for the night, 6th for overall for last week. NXT drew 691,000 viewers, and last week they drew 692, so really, really close. It finished last week at number 19th and overall for 25th. The combined wrestling audience for both shows last week was down at 1.434 million viewers, and last week it was at 1.26 million viewers. Based on the ratings, the cable news had 4 of the top 15 shows. Fox News came in at number 6, and at number 10, the Rachel Maddow Show on MSNBC was at number 9, and Anderson Cooper on CNN at number 11. South Park, with their pandemic, I believe they're not the pandemic special, but their vaccine special, won the night with this special episode. MTV's Challenge Double Agent was number 2. Real Housewives of New Jersey coming in at number 3. Of course, AEW at number 4. And Married at First Sight at number 5. In the 50-plus demo, AEW was at 0.25, which was way down from last week. And speaking of viewership, let's talk a little bit about Impact Wrestling, since they are intertwined here with AEW, especially as of late. This week's episode of Impact Wrestling drew 144,000 viewers on Access TV with a 0.04 rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic, according to Showbuzz Daily. Now, these viewership numbers are up from last week's episode, and this week's episode ranked 117th for the night in the cable top 150 for the key demographic, and 128th for the night in cable TV viewership. This week's episode featured a Kenny Omega sacrifice match announcement, as well as the AEW president and CEO Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, the Two Tonys. I never thought about that. They made another appearance for their 12th paid advertisement segment, which I'm just really loving. They're having a lot of fun at that. So this week's episode is up 7.5% from last week, while the key demographic 18-49 was up 33 1/3, so 33.33. So that is the second lowest audience of the year behind last week's show. But at least there, I guess it's a good thing that they were up a little bit, so that's great. Curse of Oak Island on History Channel topped the night for Tuesday night in the cable top 150 with a rating of 0.52 in that key demographic, at garnering 2.876 million viewers, while Tucker Carlson tonight on Fox News topped the night in viewership with 3.395 million viewers, ranking number 4 in that key demographic. The Voice on NBC topped the night for the key demo with a 0.096 rating, and NCIS on CBS topped the night on network TV with 9.772 million viewers. So we've got a couple news articles about patents here recently in the AEW world. First of all, AEW is going to file a trademark on Paul White's Captain Insano persona. And Captain Insano was the role that Paul White played in the 1998 film The Waterboy, starring Adam Sandler, of course, Bobby Boucher. And that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting. It's something that they may be used in upcoming video games and the such. So that's going to be cool to see if they are able to do that. And then also WWE filed a patent for the Dean Ambrose name, but the trademark office has gone back to WWE, basically saying that they are going to need John Moxley, or Jonathan Good, or however you want to call him. They're going to need his permission to basically do that, because they have failed to identify if it is a living individual, and when they have a living individual versus a deceased individual, it becomes more of a issue. So they need to have the written consent of the person who used the name, like they said, unless the person is deceased. So he has yet to provide written consent, and it could be denied or refused if he does not. So a couple things on the recent AEW signings. Of course, Paul White reveals why he left WWE and signed with AEW. It was basically thought of that Paul White was going to stay with WWE and retire with them. However, he was told, he got pulled into the talent and relations office, and he was told that he was never going to wrestle WrestleMania again, never meant a main event, a pay-per-view again, and may have be only used to get over NXT talent. And now he basically was very upset, did not like that inspiration, and thought he was just, well, now just go to work. So he didn't want to slow down. He wanted to keep on going. So he was in a creative frustration mode, and he thought that was just kind of one of the best things to do. And so, if he wanted to take this opportunity and, use something that he could, possibly do and contribute to. And that's why he got in over on AEW. Now, Vince McMahon did congratulate the Big Show on the signing with WWE, and of course wanted to wish him a lot of luck. He thanked Paul for the great years that he had with WWE, and there's just no anger, there's no animosity. It just basically came down to negotiation and opportunities. So when he contract expired, that was something that he did just go up to Jacksonville and talk with Tony and so on. and maybe he will get into the ring down the line. Who knows? So that's something that's going to be great to see. Of course, Dark Elevation comes out this Monday, so we will see how that goes for Paul White. Christian reveals his length of his AEW contract and talks about his AEW debut. Now, he had mentioned on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions podcast that it was kind of cool to once again hear his full name, Christian Cage. I agree. I love it. It's, just kind of weird how things come full circle. Now, he said that he was not nervous at all about a month ago when he did the Royal Rumble, but this time when he walked out to the AEW crowd, he was nervous. He was, quote, "It's just like you're the new kid in class." Now, this announcement has been all hyped up, and it kind of took a life of its own. Of course, we had talked about that here on the podcast. Now, he had said it was a shock to that everybody when he heard it, and of course, it's a long-term deal. He's not going to be here for a couple matches, and he is here for the long haul. So some of his dream matches he had talked about that he would like to do. Of course, he'd like to get in the ring with Jon Moxley. He talked about Kenny Omega. He, of course, talked about Christian and the Hardy Boys. He just basically said it's kind of a wide open thing. He hasn't fully wrapped his head around it. So he is just all over the place, and I think it's basically, he quote unquote says, it's like helping set up the next generation. Now, personally, I don't know if you guys had noticed that I think, if I'm not mistaken, if my ears are not deceiving me, his intro music that they used this Wednesday was the same intro music that he used in Impact Wrestling at Christian Cage. What do you guys all think? Let us know for next week's episode. Darby Allin reveals how much creative influence he had over the Sting street fight. Now, Darby Allin was interviewed after his match at AEW Revolution, teaming up with Sting to take on Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. Now, he had mentioned that it was an honor to work with Sting in any part of his legendary career, especially if it is the tail end, and it was, like I said, a complete honor. He also praised Taz and Sting for going with him on his vision for this match and trusting him. There was a lot that he had his mind for this match, and it was great to just basically do this. Now, I totally agree. I love the match. It, was, even though it was a cinematic match, I felt like it still fit the narrative of the story that they were telling, leading up to this. So I don't know about you all, but that's how I viewed it. Tony Khan talks about AEW's decision in allowing more fans in shows. Now, he recently took part of a media call immediately following Revolution and talked about the company's future plans on taking Dynamite on the road, as well as adding more fans and shows down the line. Now, he said, quote, "I think that we're going to take it every few months at a time. Right now, I cannot say that it's where we want to rush out and pack arenas outdoors, but he thinks doing outdoor shows that we've had great success. There have been, I think, 7, maybe 8 months of running AEW events, now with live crowds, outdoors, distancing. I personally do not like social distancing. That's just Mr. Forceworld opinion, because it's actually physically distancing. Fans, masks, because 6 feet is not a measure of social; it's a measure of distance. Anyways, that's Mr. Forthrow's view, Mr. Forthrow's take. Commentary. Now, he has said that there's been 0 known transmissions in AEW and the Jags, and we've been running these shows at roughly 20 to 25% capacity since the summer, and no known transmissions, and I think there's something to that. He said at the Super Bowl and College Football National Championship game, I did sit out in the crowd at both these games in my pod. I felt it was a very safe experience, and I thought, would I have felt as good right now with everything going on being inside in the same environment? Well, probably not. So he would like to slowly increase capacity, but not put the pods too close together yet. And as we learn more about the transmission of the virus, and we can make a plan for going out and touring. But right now, double or nothing, I think, is just too close to try and pack an arena. Now, on the same lines of that, the state of Maryland, our leader in charge here, Mark Perry, says that they could be running shows with fans very soon. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan recently announced that some of the state's COVID-19 safety policies, as well as restrictions, have been eased up, and that large indoor venues and outdoor venues have now been allowed to hold shows and operate at 50% capacity. According to the Baltimore Sun, while venues are able to hold shows at 50% capacity, they must still follow the safety protocols as well as the mask mandate. These new rules will reportedly go into effect this coming Friday, March 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, it will be interesting to see how AEW, WWE, and other promotions start to book shows in Maryland, as well as other states, now that mask mandates and things of that nature have been lifted, and easing capacities have been upped, and things of that nature. Now, ROH does run their shows from Maryland, and their 19th anniversary show is set to take place Friday, March 26th, from the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore. So no word of yet if ROH plans to sell tickets for the show, but updates will be given as it comes available. Now, quick commentary from Mr. Fourth Row on this. That's great. Of course, I've got at least one person from the area in ROH. Dak Draper came from the Denver, Colorado area. So if you guys check him out, he's over there. So give him a look, give him a follow, and everything of that nature. So I wonder if Mark would be interested in going to ROH just to get out there to a live wrestling show. And March 26th, that weekend is Mr. Fourth Row's birthday weekend. It's actually on that following Tuesday, but I do have a wrestling show that I am attending that weekend, so it's going to be fun to be there in person and celebrate my birthday with all my fellow fans and wrestler friends. Joey Janela says that his critics deserve strep throat and maybe death. One of AEW's fastest rising stars, the bad boy, Joey Janela, recently took to his Twitter and sent a message directly to his critics as well as his haters. Janela said that all his fans have the right to their own opinions, but he also has the right to say things to those wrestling fans that thinks he sucks and deserve the most severe, never-ending case of strep throat. Now, he also sent a second tweet that said, well, maybe death, to be honest. Now, Joey, here's the commentary from Mr. Fourth Row. Not a good look. I know, yes, we can play the bad boy on the social media and stuff like that. Personally, I'm taking a little bit of offense to that because just a little peek behind the curtain, getting personal. Hope you guys enjoy that I'm doing the running commentary on the things. Growing up younger, I got strep throat actually a lot. And I am at that age where they were on the process of they were not removing tonsils anymore. Before that, they kind of were. So I'm like right on the edge where they really kind of stopped that. And now, Mr. Fourth Row's tonsils are huge anyway, so he's got some grapefruit-sized tonsils. So that's maybe why you guys think maybe I talk a little bit strange sometimes, and of course have seasonal allergies, which does not help. But just to say that is just horrible. Strep throat is not a fun thing. I still do get it every once in a while, but I do make sure that I build my immune system, and I'm going to ask you guys all to build your immune system to, take your D3 is especially the most kind of important thing to help, as well as other things, but all people say vitamin C, D3 are kind of the best things to take. So just a little suggestion from me, disclaimer, I am not a medical professional, and you do that at your own risk. And Joey, don't know what to say. It was announced prior to this week's Tuesday episode of Impact Wrestling going off the air, before their go-home show for their Sacrifice pay-per-view event happening this Saturday, March 13th, that AEW champion will be going title versus Rick Swann or Moose, depending on who happens to be the Impact champion on their Impact Rebellion pay-per-view on Saturday, April 24th. So this should be exciting to see how that happens. Now, the Impact match is going to be a unification match. Rich Swann is the Impact Wrestling champion, and Moose is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So this is going to be something really good. I watched Impact Wrestling this week and thought it was pretty decent. Now, I'm glad that they are finally unifying this. I think it's time. The storyline was, honestly, I thought it was well played, and it's about time it's played out. And then they are rolling this right over into this, crossover promotion thing with AEW. So I think Impact Wrestling is making some right moves here with some of the stuff that they are recently doing. And of course, I'm going to pat AEW on the back because they are probably giving some great creative input to Impact Wrestling. Now, a preview for next week's card for Dynamite, the March 17th episode for St. Patrick's Day Slam. We're going to have Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston teaming up against the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, the Good Brothers. Now, that should be fun to say. Jade Cargill is also to be in action next week. We will see who she is going to be. I'm excited about that. And then we also are going to have a tag match of Jurassic Express and Bear Country versus Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the Butcher and the Blade. A singles match of Cody Rhodes versus Penta. And then the main event for next week, we are going to have an unsanctioned lights out match. Anything goes. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, against Thunder Rosa. So I'm excited about that. Should be fun to see how this all turns out. So cheers. Paul White is going to do a virtual meet and greet on March 28th. Now, of course, as we remember, he made his official AEW debut during the Crossroads special episode of Dynamite, promoting his upcoming commentary duties on AEW Dark Elevation, teaming up there with Tony Schiavone. Now, this new show does premiere this Monday, March 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on AEW's official YouTube channel. That, of course, is also when he revealed that there was going to be a Hall of Fame worthy talent signing that took place on, of course, last Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view. Now, he's going to take part in this virtual meet and greet with fans when he joins Fan Room Live on the 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Times. A press release was recently issued on the meet and greet that he's going to take a part of. They are going to basically do that here, and the Fan Room is a platform that helps actors, musicians, comedians, sports stars, and other popular figures engaged in seamlessly interact with their supporters virtually. These sessions are very interactive and more like a meet and greet and a Q&A town hall style meetings. It is a collaboration of actor, producer, talent agent, celebrity, event producer in response to the pandemic that is, of course, stalled the entertainment industry. Totally agree. I have not been part of any of these meet and greets or anything like that. However, I'm going to tell you all, of course, my birthday is upcoming after that weekend. And if you guys all want to chip in, get me a birthday present, well, there you go. Just kidding. On the AEW Fantasy League for Pro Wrestling News Hub, our top wrestlers of the week, we have Hikaru Shida, Thunder Rosa, Rey Fenix, and Darby Allin all getting 10 points, and Lee Johnson rounding out the top 5 with 8. So good luck with everybody. Of course, if you want to join the AEW Fantasy League, go over to fantasy.prowrestlingnewshub.com, sign in and create your league, join an open league, and everything as well there. Now, you can earn a free Dogecoin every week by playing and getting the top score. Now it's time to open up the mailbag that we've got here, and of course we have Salty Sea Dog checking in. Salty Sea Dog says, hello to you all in AEW Weekly Land. Okay, here we go. First, I am really excited about a Women's Dynamite main event next week. I am too, Salty Sea Dog. Britt and Rosa deserve that spot. Totally agree. Then there is another women's match with Jade next week. The women's division is getting better. Yes, that's something that they definitely should shine on and make them stand out from the other companies. That's something that they definitely can do. I agree with that, Salty Sea Dog. That was just me commentating on your email point there. The Phoenix and Matt Jackson match was a thing of beauty. I cannot wait for that tag championship match. Agree. I watched old death matches to get ready for the Revolution, and the explosions were awesome. So the botched explosion was very discouraging. I agree, Salty Sea Dog. It looked like that it was very difficult for them to explain, but the Eddie Kingston promo about how he passed out because he has PSD from him time in jail was brilliant. Kingston and Moxley is a great pairing. Yeah, I totally agree, Salty Sea Dog. They work well together. They, of course, know each other for a long time. Continuing the Dark Order chasing after Hangman Page is a worthwhile storyline. Yes, I agree. That tractor was little skit was pretty funny. I loved it. Okay, now to end the show, that was amazing. I cannot do it justice. The new group of MJF, Wardlow, FTR, Sean Spears with Tully feuding with the Inner Circle, I think is what you meant to say there, Salty Sea Dog, is what wrestling dreams are made of. Yes, I agree. It's something that should be totally fun. So thank you once again, Salty Sea Dog, for checking in. And of course, if you all want to check in with us next week, if you want to email us in at podcast@prowrestlingnewshub.com, or if you also want to call in and send in a voicemail like I used to do, you can easily do that. Send it in at 888-430-7692, extension number 3. Cutoff time is 6 p.m. on Thursdays. Now remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you do, we will read it on the show. Check us out on YouTube. I know this is not up on YouTube, but maybe we will eventually get back to that. Now remember the questions of the week that we have for this upcoming week, and that is with AEW Dynamite happening on St. Patrick's Day this year. They are theming it up with the St. Patty's Day Slam. Now, AEW Dark Elevation may happen on special days as well. So, for example, Elevation being on Mondays, it may happen on a Memorial Day, a President's Day, a Labor Day. Should they try to theme those as well? Will them doing that get them extra views there on the YouTube channel? What do you all think? Send that in. Now, want to also remind you all to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's easy as finding Pro Wrestling News Hub. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher. For show notes, go over to the ProWrestlingNewsHub.com, click on the podcast link, join our Discord where we talk throughout the week. And I want to thank you all for listening to this episode of the AEW Week in Review, and I will see you all in my view next week.